convicted of 34 on all 34 counts. Let's not pretend for 1 second we don't know exactly what this shit is. We know exactly what this is. This is the only way the Democrats can win the presidential election this fall and this November. The only way they can win it is to rig it in their favor. So of course they make sure that the case is in front of a liberalistic, favorable judge. And I don't care what nobody say. When they went through the process of picking the jury, I don't believe for 1 second that there wasn't like a slight tad bit of information on each juror to reveal that they are left leaning. You can't convince me that that did not happen. There's a lot of things that's being revealed this year, a lot of truths that have been hidden in the shadows for many decades, things that we suspected might be going on behind the scenes, but we couldn't put our fingers on it in a concrete fashion. We couldn't be like, haha, I knew it. The proof is right there. Look. Because for decades, it seems like things were either they did a better job at hiding them from us, or there's just too much access to immediate information at this point that, any lies that they try to push and throw in front of us, it's like in the modern day times, it's kind of like that movie They Live with Roddy Piper. Whenever you put on the glasses, you can actually see the subliminal messages everywhere. That you can view that as a metaphor of what we're seeing today, as opposed to instant gratification as far as getting information instantly at the tip of your fingers. Smartphone can be a gift and a curse having one, because news travels fast, so they're not able to completely blanket the majority of the masses, people that are willing to pay attention to what's really going on. You're always going to have those that are going to be more lenient as far as following mainstream media. A lot of them are boomers. They grew up watching TV and the news coming on at 5. Some of them still do it. Some of them still do it. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they gotta watch the mainstream news. And what dominates the mainstream news? It's all liberal, left-leaning, democratic propaganda. So as far as what happened to Trump, people that are always leaning that way anyway, that you could tell them anything and they're gonna believe it. Oh yeah, I knew he was guilty. All kinds of stuff. Now he can't be president, but not so fast, because he's gonna appeal it, and there's really no concrete evidence. If you were looking at it from an objective point of view, there's really no case here. Everything is fabricated, and conveniently they wanted to push this trial. They wanted to have this trial before the election. It's a reason they wanted to do that, because the normal process, this trial wouldn't have took place for a couple of years. In the normal cycle, the normal cycle of this process, it would have took a couple of years for it to even go to trial. But for some strange reason, they were able to shoehorn this trial like right before the election, in spring, summertime, right before the election this fall. And nobody views that as very ironic and suspicious. You can't tell me for one instance that this is not turning into a banana republic, because it is. That's exactly what it's turning into. And Joe Biden is the harbinger of death, and that's what he's bringing in, the banana republic. And he still has a bunch of gullible, idiotic people willing to vote for him. they're blithering idiots. They won't even have a real adult conversation with you, a logical conversation with you, without resorting to calling you names, hurling insults at you. Like, wait a minute, where did that come from? Thought we were talking about the facts here. What does my family have to do with anything? They can't really crack on me as far as how I look, because a lot of times, majority of the times, I look way better than them anyway. So instead of debating the facts, they'll be like, "Oh, well, I bet your woman is fat," or "I bet you don't even have a woman." Anything to distract from the actual subject at hand and the problem that's going on in this country with our political landscape. And personally, I'm getting sick and tired of it. I think it's a bunch of bullshit, and it's so obvious. It's like they are literally playing in everybody's faces, and only a chosen few of us are pissed off about it. Mainly because we are the ones that's paying attention. And anybody that has an ounce of common sense, you can't sit there 1 minute and tell me you are satisfied with the direction this country is going in, to the point where you want 4 more years of the previous 4 years that we've already got. You really want 4 more years of what's going on now? You really enjoy seeing the border just wide open and just people coming through all willy nilly? And it's not just people coming from Mexico. They might travel through Mexico, but they're coming from all different sorts of countries, and they're being funneled through the southern border. And who has to deal with it? The people of Texas. We're basically on the front line. And then when Governor Abbott decides to bust them out of Texas, all of a sudden it's a problem. But wait a minute, you guys said you were sanctuary cities. So what's the problem? You should be opening your arms and embracing these illegal migrants. You should be happy and thankful we're busting them to your sanctuary cities. See, everything was cool, fine, and dandy when Texas was bearing the brunt of it all. It's the equivalent of what a lot of these politicians do, throwing a rock and hide their hand, and they want you to look over there like, hey, look at what that person is doing. Wait a minute, you're the one that hurled the rock at that person. And you wonder why that person is over there cussing you out, pissed off? Oh, I didn't do anything. See, my hand is just in my back pocket. Yeah, because you already threw the rock. Y'all didn't care when it was just Texas that had to deal with it. As soon as they showed up on your doorstep, we don't have enough money to deal with it. Oh, we got to find a way to sue the state of Texas. We got to find a way to sue Governor Abbott. Maybe the state of Texas should just break off from the union if Joe Biden is reelected, because this is a bunch of nonsense, man. If that happens, because basically the Democrats are blatantly trying to steal the election right from under people's feet. And if that happens, I say the state of Texas should secede from the Union, establish our own military, just break off from the Union and do our own thing, because it's over for this nonsense. It's past time for all this playing in our face and stuff. That means, because basically, if they can do it now, you might as well look at this as stage one ground level test, ground zero test. So if they're able to get away with it now, then it's going to happen in the future. Every election cycle. Anytime there's a Republican catching steam, galvanizing the people from the grassroots levels, all through different sectors of business and industries, all the way